Hello, I'm Angela Pifer, creator of the Clean and Lean Revolution. Here's your question today. True or false? The use of the word raw on a label means that the product has not been cooked, heated, or otherwise treated with chemicals. In other words, raw means raw. Would you buy almonds if the label clearly stated, not really raw, fumigated with propylene oxide gas, a possible human carcinogen, for your protection? In 2007, legislation passed by the USDA stated that all almonds sold in retail stores that are grown in the US must be pasteurized. Despite being pasteurized, these almonds are sold as raw almonds. In fact, over 99.9% of all almonds sold in retail establishments today are not really raw. This is the equivalent of labeling an item kosher when it's not, or using the word organic when only 70% of the ingredients are organic, which unfortunately is actually allowed. Consumers depend on labels to give them the facts, when in reality food manufacturers are stretching the truths. Natural, for instance, it's a marketing term. It doesn't mean anything in terms of the product that is being labeled. The reasoning behind the legislation requiring almond pasteurization was to address two isolated salmonella cases that occurred in 2001 and 2004. The California Almond Board backed the law. California grows the majority of almonds that are harvested in the US. Now think about this. Two isolated cases were used to override the past decades of proven safety to the degree that legislation was enacted to protect the public. One of the biggest brain teasers about the last 7 years of almond regulation is this. Growers from the US ship unpasteurized raw almonds outside of the US without any need to gas pasteurize or steam pasteurize them. These products are clearly labeled unpasteurized raw almonds, because the rest of the world insists on clear, factual labeling. There are a couple of clauses built into the legislation. Unpasteurized raw almonds can be sold in the US by retailers as long as they're not grown in the US. Another exemption was given to the US almond growers to sell raw, unpasteurized almonds directly to consumers through farmers markets, as long as this doesn't exceed 100 pounds per person per day. We have to then assume that public health was not the reason that the legislation was passed. I mean, does this mean that we don't care about the health of the rest of the world or the health of the people who frequent farmers markets? Some people have raised the concern that this was more to do with price fixing, spurred by the California Almond Board, than it does a health mandate. Why is pasteurization an issue? Because it happens in two ways. The first is the use of steam to sanitize the almonds, bringing the surface temperature up to 200 degrees, literally cooking the surface of the almond. And between you and me, when I buy raw almonds, I don't expect that they've been cooked. The second way they pasteurize is with a chemical called PPO, Propylene Oxide Gas. PPO is how most almonds are pasteurized since it is cheaper than the steam method. PPO, however, is labeled a possible carcinogen by the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. So here's the summary on propylene oxide from the EPA's website. And please stay with me because this is important. This is a product that is being used on our food. Propylene oxide is used in the production of polyethers, the primary component of polyurethane foam, and propylene glycol. Acute or short-term exposure to humans and animals to propylene oxide has caused eye and respiratory tract irritation. Dermal contact, even with a dilute solution, has caused skin irritation and necrosis in humans. Propylene oxide is also a mild central nervous system depressant in humans. Inflammatory lesions of the nasal cavity, trachea, and lungs and neurological effects have been observed in animals chronically, long-term, when exposed to propylene oxide by inhalation. Propylene oxide has been observed to cause tumors at or near the site of administration in rodents, causing stomach tumors and nasal tumors after inhalation exposure. EPA has classified propylene oxide as a group B2 probable human carcinogen. So just a quick rundown again on its uses. The major use of propylene oxide is in the production of polyethers, the primary component of polyurethane foams, and propylene glycol. Propylene oxide is also used in the fumigation of foodstuffs, the almonds that we're talking about, and the plastic medical instruments in the manufacture of dipropylene glycol and glycol ethers as herbicides, solvents, and in the preparation of lubricants, surfactants, and oil demulsifiers. This is what they're putting on our food. A product that decontaminates plastic medical instruments and is used as an herbicide is being used on your food that is being sold to you labeled as raw. Would you buy almonds if the label clearly stated, not really raw, fumigated with propylene oxide gas for your protection? So the answer to today's question is false. of food produced in the United States may state that the product is raw when it really isn't. When you offer your child raw almond butter, you are likely offering your child pasteurized almond butter. And I want to make a note here that the use of propylene oxide gas is not allowed if the almonds are going to be sold as organic. So though the term organic is not always perfect, this is one more reason that choosing organic is a good idea. If you're looking for 100% raw, unpasteurized, organically grown almonds, your only option is to purchase from a grower at a local farmer's market or from a certified organic almond grower outside of the U.S. who exports almonds to this country.